If you have a toddler who seems to choose to whine and fuss over every little thing, this video is for you. When my daughter Sarah was about 2 years old, she had started the bad habit of fussing when she didn't get her way about just about anything, frowning, whining, and generally choosing to have a negative attitude. One day, one of my friends was over at my house and we were chatting in the living room. My daughter started her negative attitude over something, and I simply said, "Sarah, you know you can't behave this way. Go to your room until you have a happy spirit." Then I turned back to my friend to continue our conversation. Sarah knew what to do. We had been through this before. She marched up the stairs to her room as my friend and I continued our conversation. A few minutes later, Sarah came down the stairs and said, "I have a happy spirit now, Mommy." I turned to her and said, "Great, let me see." She gave me a big smile, and that was the end of that. My friend was amazed. She admitted that when I first told my daughter to go to her room, she wasn't sure what I was doing. But then she saw the results and realized Sarah had to make the choice on her own to change her attitude. And she did. We didn't have to do any dramatic thing or interrupt our conversation, but for a few seconds. I'll give you another example. My mother was on a mission trip in India and was helping care for a little boy about age 3 while his mother went to the store. The boy often fussed, cried, whined, and had a generally negative attitude all the time. My mother remembered that I had done this with my daughter and decided to give it a try with this little boy. When he started fussing over some trivial thing, she looked him in the eye and said, "Oh no, you can't cry here. If you want to cry, you have to go to that room over there." The little boy stopped and looked at her in amazement. He had never heard such a thing. Then he walked into the other room and stayed there for just a minute or two. When he came back, she said, "You will need to stay in there until you have a happy spirit. Do you have a happy spirit?" He soon learned that he needed to show a smile, and then he could come back into the room with her. From then on, the little boy understood that my mother was not going to allow this negative attitude to continue. If he started it, she calmly implemented this plan, and soon he was a happy and pleasant child. His mother was amazed and asked how my mother had done it. The little boy's parents started doing this whenever he began fussing, and it changed their whole household. A toddler can get in the habit of fussing for just about any reason whatsoever. It doesn't have to be anything of significance. They wanted a green crayon rather than a red one. They dropped their toy on the floor, etc. It really doesn't matter what trivial thing happens to trigger them into having a bad attitude. When this happens, they need to make the decision to have self-control and to choose to have a positive attitude through the little discomforts and annoyances that we all have to deal with in life. A good way to help them learn this is to simply let them know they are not allowed to fuss here, meaning in the presence of others. In other words, you understand they have chosen a bad attitude and you don't have the power to change that, but they do. You are going to let them learn to make a different choice. So you tell them they aren't allowed to fuss here. Then show them where they can fuss if they want to, like in their own room, in a corner, or the bottom of the stairs, for example. You don't have to be angry about it. You can just simply state this. If you want to fuss, you can go in there. Don't try to console them if they are fussing for an undue reason. Instead, just let them know where they can fuss and where they cannot, where they can display a bad attitude and where they can't. And let them know that when they make the appropriate choice to choose a positive attitude, they can rejoin the group. Fussing may include a constant frowny face, whining, or other actions that show a negative attitude. Simply inform them that they are capable of making the choice to have a positive attitude, and they will learn to do it. Let them know you don't want their choice of having a negative attitude to infect everyone else. One of the beautiful things about a child at the age of about 2 to 4 years old is that they usually do not question any information you share with them. If you tell them that they must go to this certain place to fuss or cry, they take that as a truth in life. They just accept it and believe they must go in that place to do this. And they also quickly learn that in order to get out of that place, they have to choose to change their attitude and employ self-control and they do it. Aren't we all happier and more content when we choose to have a positive attitude? Of course. This is true with children as well as adults. If you try this and still believe you need more personal help, you can schedule a private consultation with me at my website, mommyanswerlady.com. Before you go, please don't forget to subscribe. Parents, you can do this. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here next time.